Hey everybody. I know it's been a week of people leaving you, first Buttigieg and now Kobachar, but I
Klobuchar.
wanted you to know that we're not gonna leave you. We're staying in this race to the end, everybody.
I don't want to lose you. I don't want to leave the best love that I ever found.
This has been a crazy week, man. I mean, it outside of my world at least. I don't know about yours, but like my world was kind of boring, but the world writ large went nuts this week.
Yeah, the world is kind of on fire. How
Two
about
confirmed cases of
yours?
coronavirus
That's the
in the
way I
United
like it.
States. Yeah. Devon's quoting fucking Smash Mouth.
I'll never get bored.
Cats and dogs living together.
Mass hysteria, and welcome to the Say Report. We're
Yeah.
your host companions. I'm Devon Decker.
And I'm Siegen Sarowick. And I'm only kind of half kidding when I talk about how like this is kind of really fucked some stuff up in the world because like not least of which all of Utah really advanced on their early voting techniques. They make sure that everybody gets a ballot in the mail, and you're welcome to either use it or throw it out. They sign you up immediately whenever you get a driver's license. You are immediately signed up as long as you're of age for voting and all that sort of shit. So like I have definitely sent in a ballot like all of like 2 weeks ago that had the potential to have people's names on it that are no longer in the race.
Sounds like even though they're forward thinking about voting, you really don't want to do that until you know who the players are going to be.
Yeah. Not that I'm against early voting in any way, but like, yeah, we there our system's not foolproof, shall we say.
Our system is fucking broken.
It's
Let's
broken.
not be cute. It's like, oh, it's not foolproof. Sometimes a drop of water will get out of the waterproof piping. No, 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 no. The political system in this country is fucking broken. I didn't realize that this is what we were going to be talking about, but I'm glad that we are because I have a lot of thoughts about this. And
Here we go. All right.
the fact of the matter is, I have not been paying attention. And I know that, like, oh, bad Devon, all that. This is fucking nonsense to me.
This is the best part. This is the best way to start a politics conversation. It's all broken. I haven't been paying attention.
But that's okay. But I say that, and that's I've watched debates and all that. But like, there are people who are putting in the serious time, and honestly, and this is fucking terrible. Politics have become reality television. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that.
Is that what you're apologizing for saying that?
No, I'm not sorry for saying that at all. I'll say that 100
Okay.
times.
Okay.
But no, what I'm saying, why I'm apologizing is because I'm now going to liken it to Survivor and the fact that I can no longer watch the entire series of Survivor, but I can enjoy the finale episode because I know who the fucking candidates are, I know whose votes actually matter, and they're going to give me a brief, like, recap of everything that came before.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
What, like, what the Democratic Party does now 3 years, not 4 years, is decide we need to fight each other to the death and dump all of our resources and effort and energy into making sure that we're the fucking Highlander of the Democratic Party. So then, when it comes time for them to fight the actual adversary, the one who needs to be defeated, they have nothing left.
Yeah,
Everybody
man.
is tired and sick of it at this point.
No, it's fucking clown shoes. It really is. To coin a phrase from two people who are much better at the satirical shit than us, but like it always comes down to a fucking like douchebag and a shit sandwich, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
like this is the world that we have come to at this point. Yeah, man. I don't know, but yeah. So that kind of rocked things around. It for me. Also, we went months without a snowstorm in Utah, and then suddenly had storm of the century this weekend for all of one day, and then now I kid you not, it's all melted away by now. So the weather has just been scaring the crap out of me.
Not only has the weather been scaring the crap out of people, they said on the news, because I had the news on, that it was going to warm up going into the weekend, and sure enough, the high for my Friday is like 51 degrees.
Yeah.
But the infographic that they use, like they have like the sunshine or the rain, was snow. And I'm like, you go fire that guy. Because there's a definite difference between watching and listening. So I hear that it's going to be warm, but out of the corner of my eye, I see the snow guy. And I'm like, wait, what are you trying to tell me? What is the message you are trying to convey?
Yeah, I would say that's crazy, except I watched the sun come out from behind the clouds this weekend, bright as anything, and all of a sudden, the worst of the snow started. So I don't know what world we live in anymore.
The world doesn't know the world that it lives in anymore. But yeah, no, Buttigieg and Klobuchar coming out before Super Tuesday seems really fucking weird.
Yeah.
This is going to release the Monday before Super Tuesday. Some are calling it, mediocre Monday, because tomorrow's going to be super. What's today? It's just another manic Monday.
Yeah.
I kind of wish it were Sunday. That's my fun day. Anywho, my I don't have to run day. Fuck me. But yeah, it seems strange. Like, is this the time to drop out? Like, you've put in all this time and effort and money. These are people who have showed up at these debates. Tomorrow, March 3rd, 3/3/2020. Ooh. Like, that's going to be the big one, right? That's the one that should really let you know where you are. That's the political GPS. Is Super Tuesday.
Yeah. I mean, they did the damage that they were meant to do. I mean, at the end of the day, they came in, they made sure that the points that they wanted to be heard in this election cycle are being heard. They made sure that the people that they wanted to support now have more of that support. I mean, like, Klobuchar basically gave all of her delegates over to Biden, right? Like, when she walked out of the room.
Yeah, so, she said, and now I fully support Joe Biden. Almost.
Which is, this system is just crazy. So, yeah, man.
And at the end of the day, here's what I thought, right? After all of this, right? Come November, right? There's still a chance that whoever becomes the Democratic candidate for president gets the popular vote in this country, but we still get 4 more years of Donald Trump. Like, we're not, all we're doing is creating new problems instead of addressing the problems that should be addressed. Well, now, do I understand that Congress, right now, there'd be no way that they would, dissolve the Electoral College? I get that. Because why would you do that? Why would you weaken your chances? Oh my God, I don't get it. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No. I want to make sure that this is out there before tomorrow happens. Also, there's this talk in the water right now that whoever wins the popular vote among Democrats, they may not get the nomination from the Democratic Party.
Well, I mean, isn't that what superdelegates are? Isn't that the whole thing?
I will say that if you do this and do not give it to the popular vote, no matter what happens, you are no better than the 2 times you brought Republicans to fucking court to say, shouldn't the person with popular vote win this election?
The fact of the matter is, it's Warren Beatty. It's not Warren Beatty. Who I meant to say is
weird Democratic candidate.
It's not Warren Beatty. The guy, the Spruce Goose, the Aviator. He pissed in jars and filed his toenail and fingernail clippings. It's not Hugh Hefner. Howard Hughes. Howard Hughes. Yeah. Howard Hughes. It's Howard Hughes, man. The rules do not apply. We will rage against the coming of the night as long as it hurts us. But we're going to use the same fucking cheat codes in order to finish this game of Mario. And when we're still going to turn to you and say, but you can't use save states. It doesn't make sense. Politics just don't make sense. It's fucking clown shoes. To use that word that is the perfect description for it.
It is.
Every time it's on, and every time I'm watching it, I'm like, I want to care, but friggin' that last debate with them all with their hands up, they looked like children because that's what they are. How you get me to be political? How you get me to be political on the Say Report?
Yeah, man. We had to talk about it.
It's true.
It's gonna be a wild week, and we definitely had to talk about it.
It's going to be a wild week. I mean, it's going to be a wild tomorrow, and that's the big deal of it, because I mean, based on everything that they say, after tomorrow, we should have a pretty clearly defined roadmap of who the Democratic nominee should be, based upon the votes, based upon the public saying, this is who we want.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's fucking March, Sejin. We are 8 months away from the election. We're not even having a Democrat fight a Republican yet. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah. Well, strap in, because between that and the fact we're all going to die from the super flu in the next couple of months, this is going to be a crazy couple of months for the Say report.
COVID-19. There's a PSA from the Say report. Refer to it as what it is. Coronavirus is scary, and you can make plenty of memes from it. And yes, it is a strain of the coronavirus, but it's COVID-19.
Specifically,
that is the strain that has got everybody in a tizzy. That has the Walmart in Coventry, Rhode Island, completely sold out of all disinfectant products.
I mean, hey, man, people being more clean is never a bad thing, I guess. But I will say, do your research, because like a lot of people out there don't understand that like coronavirus is like a thing that's been in the world. Like it is a category of virus. It is not this particular virus. And so people out there who are trying to push you on shit and sell you on statistics and all this other crap, you got to figure out exactly how they're using what words and why, because there's a lot going on in there too. But yeah, it's scary when a new disease presents itself.
I mean, it's scary because, I work at a college campus, and there's plenty of people, and when I look at the website, and there's a running banner, like, no coronavirus, open parentheses, COVID-19, close parentheses, like, that is scary. I also, my office works close with study abroad, and they are having all sorts of problems with students who are like leaving to study abroad or who are currently studying abroad. Like, it's nuts. Like, I get it. It's scary. There is a real thing to look at, but we don't need to lose our minds the way that the media is telling you to lose your mind. And also, masks are to prevent you from spreading sickness. They're not super effective at preventing a person from getting sick.
Yeah. Especially because we don't quite know how this is transmuted right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But they
if
do
the way
know
you get it is through the eye, then the mask ain't going to do shit for you.
Yes. But also, they do know the size of the particles of the coronavirus because, as we said, it's an existing strain. It's a thing that's out there in the world. If you look at a can of Lysol disinfectant wipes, coronavirus is written there. They didn't just add that. That's on there for a while.
They knew.
Just like The Simpsons predicted it with the Osaka flu, which was my favorite meme that I saw going around. And every time I'm like, except that came from Japan and coronavirus came from China. And also, these things happen.
Yeah.
SARS, swine flu, avian flu. It's not the first time. It's not the first rodeo.
Yeah.
Sorry. I want to make sure that people understand that, yes, it's okay to be cautious, and you should be washing your hands all the time, right? I wash my hands all the time. I do that. I'm not a crazy person, but, if I touch something dirty, or if I do, I come in from the world, I wash my hands. It's just smart.
Finding out that only 31% of people wash their hands after using the bathroom was an upsetting statistic to hear, people.
Congratulations, Sejin, on your never using public bathrooms.
Never again.
I feel like every time I go into a public restroom, I'm the only person who washes their hands.
Ugh.
And I'm just like, that's gross. You're out there. You're out there where I am.
Man.
Yeah. So this is good. This was a fun. We have 6 more minutes to scare people and talk about how the world is on fire before we pivot this to something more fun. Does that seem fair?
Well, yeah, sure. I was actually about to pivot, but if you want to give me 6 more minutes, I can riff
I'm,
about the robots for a bit.
yeah, that's fine. I'm all about it. I'm just saying, like, let's give a good 20 minutes to the crazy stuff. But if you just want to give it 15, if you're ready to pivot, I support that.
Oh yeah, man, because like I decided to spend my whole weekend just hiding from the world because of all of the insanity between the weather and the election and the diseases. So I've been inside just consuming all weekend, man.
The aliens from They Live must be so proud of you.
um yeah, but like where do we want to go first? Because I did some TV stuff this weekend. I did some video gaming this weekend.
I mean, you are the ferryman of this one. You are my Karen this week. So take me
So
wherever you wish.
I because I don't think that we're going to talk about it much now because there's a movie coming out in a couple of months that we're going to have to maybe base it around then. But I did decide to go back to the Minions franchise this weekend, the entire Despicable Me Minions franchise. And I say franchise because I do also mean like the TV specials and like
I know. I knew exactly what you
the
meant when you
shorts and
said it.
stuff.
I knew it wasn't Despicable Me 1, 2, 3, and Minions.
Yeah, man. So I think I'm going to. Yeah, I think I'm gonna get just really into Minions this year.
That's cool. That's a cool goal for 2020.
2020. Like no, like with the new movie coming out, and you know, the preview drops for Despicable Me 4 slash whatever Minions prequel that they're doing.
Minions, The Rise of Groot.
There it grew, but
Groot, yeah, Groot. No, Groot. It's Groot.
Rise of Groot.
The Minions are gonna work with Groot now, and that's gonna be hilarious.
Disney owns it all, man.
But I don't think they own Illumination,
No, they do not own Illumination,
so
but
they
own
can't own it
Groot.
all.
Oh, never mind. All right, but essentially, the preview dropped, and it sparked something in me. This moment of just like, man, I think I like the Minions. And I was like genuinely excited when I saw this preview, and I was like, this is weird. Okay, so I decided to go back and test that theory, and I came out the other end a better person for it. I think really learning something about myself. First of all, my favorite thing in the world is listening to Oscar winner Sandra Bullock say "banana."
She's so good. Minions is such a good movie. I can't believe how
Unnecessarily
good
good
it
movie.
is.
Oh man, yeah. So I explored that world for a little bit, and really like then I realized where my line is though. I'm not gonna become one of those people that starts doing like the memes on like Facebook. I don't believe that minions speak for me or don't speak for me as it is. But like you know what I mean. Like I'm not gonna be the kind of person that's gonna like suddenly start wearing like a minions onesie, but I might buy some minions boxers. You get what I mean? Like.
You want to be a closeted Minions fan. I get
know,
it. I understand where you're coming
I
from.
understand that the outside world does not need to partake in this joy with me. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. You can enjoy something on your own, and that doesn't mean you need to shove it down everyone else's throat.
Exactly.
I trust. That's like everything I've ever like had an interest in. It's how I approach it. Because I don't mean to be rude when I say this, and then insert rude comment. I kind of clash with fans or fanatics. I feel like I live in this world, and there are things that I enjoy. There are things that I definitely enjoy. I'm looking at a Ninja Turtle right now. I'm looking at a Transformer, and like there are things that I also am looking at a copy of High Fidelity. So that's not like the best example of I have a Hulk lunchbox that's full of the Chasing Amy and action figures right here. Saved it. But just because I like those things, that doesn't mean I need to tell everybody that I like those things. And I don't need to, like...
Except for 1 hour a week, right here on Save It For It.
No. But I also don't, feel the need to flex that knowledge.
Yeah.
That being said, if I come across somebody who shares that excitement for something that I have knowledge of, I will talk to them, and I will hopefully have a good conversation and have an enjoyable time. But there's plenty of stuff that I downright hate, as evidenced by the High Fidelity book that's here. But also, I'm not a huge Star Trek guy. I'm right there admitting that. Ditto Star Wars. But I understand that there are people in this world who are fans of those things. So I have put in a modicum of effort to have some knowledge of it. And I feel like other people don't do that.
What do you mean? And from what way? You mean like people don't bother getting to know things that other people are into, or you mean like some people go too far with getting to know
No, I
things?
feel like other people, their life begins and ends with the things that they like.
Yeah.
And if you do not jive with the things that I like, then that's it. And if I
Yeah.
don't like something that you like, you better fucking watch out.
He-
Like that's
I'm curious how this plays with like I mean, and maybe this explains a thing or two about your feelings over the last couple of years of going to conventions then, and how that is affected by the fact that you're surrounding yourself with people who take it too far. And,
I
you know,
yeah,
and I say too far is not a fair way of putting it because that implies that there is a way to like be too much with your fandom, and there are, but not everybody is, right? But like you're jumping into that to the deep end when you go to those places.
yes, and I think that's been the lesson that I've learned. But I don't want to stop doing that. And
Hmm.
I guess therein lies the problem with me. I enjoy them as people watching. Going to any sort of convention is pretty much an excuse to get to watch these people who truly have devoted themselves to something that they love,
Yeah.
and like good for them. And I do it. I can't be that person. I definitely go through like phases. Phases
Hmm.
is kind of the wrong thing. But like I'm definitely as into Ninja Turtles as I was, let's say 4 years ago.
Yeah.
But I've since stopped buying the comics. I don't collect the figures anymore. But that doesn't mean that if someone wants to have a conversation about the Ninja Turtles, I'm not going to be able to throw down and maybe introduce some cool stuff to them. Maybe they can introduce some cool stuff to me. It would be a good conversation, is what I'm hoping for. But you talk about going to these conventions and people who took it too far. I mean, that's kind of what happened when I went to that video game convention last year in Virginia. Is like, oh wow, you guys, you like Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past is a religion to you.
Hmm.
That is
Yeah.
not a religion to me. It's something that I enjoy doing and I'm kind of good at.
Yeah, man. I mean, like, I very much am of the mindset that like everybody's got to have a thing, right? Like, man must have a ritual. There's got to be something that you dive into, and you dive in deeper, and you know, for me, it's whatever that thing is that kind of fills the holes. When you're sitting around and you're like, I don't know what to do with myself. This is that thing that you kind of, you know, you lean towards, or that thing where you're like, I'm having kind of a weird day. This will make me feel better, right? And like that is a healthy way, as far as I understand it, to deal with your life, and when things are getting to be too much in one area, you compartmentalize and move to another. Like there's there is good to be had from that kind of relationship with media of some kind, right? Like fandom writ large is not necessarily a bad thing. It's definitely taken to a place nowadays, and you know, blame the internet if you want, blame the fact that more movies are coming out, more games are being made, more TV is happening. Like the fact that there is just more to consume means logically that there's going to be more shit for people to
There's
latch
going to be more
onto.
consumers. Yeah.
Yeah, and like there's I don't know. It's hard for me because I do enjoy getting lost in something, and I haven't in a long time. You know, I talked about this somewhat with Borderlands and stuff a couple of weeks ago of like falling in love with video games again because I fell out of love for a bit, and I think phases isn't a bad word to use. Like I go in these phases where like I'm the biggest video game nerd in the world. Hell, I was like writing a dissertation about video games, and then suddenly I was like, whoa, I'm suddenly things are not clicking in the right way. I need to take some space from this, and now I'm finding my way back to that, and I'm excited to get to that place once again. You know, before we get on, I was telling you that I spent this weekend actually diving into Link's Awakening, and it's the first Zelda game. It's the first Zelda game where I feel like I know exactly what to do, where to go, and how to do this, and I'm getting it done quickly. And that feels good, like being able to just dive in and do it. Part of that is because it's a little bit smaller than a lot of other Zelda games. Part of that is because it's very tropey. There's a lot of very obvious things that like, well, in a Zelda game, you know, you got to do this, so let's do this first. And then like, you know, so that kind of thing. Also, it holds your hand really immensely. Like maybe infamously holds your hand. I don't mind that one bit though, right? And so like getting lost in that this weekend was fucking stellar. I have critiques about the game, about the presentation of it, about the game writ large. But at the end of the day, I did spend like 6 or 7 hours in that game after purchasing it on Saturday night, and then like being about 5 dungeons in by Sunday morning, and being like, oh shit, like I'm deep in this, and
Yeah.
that felt good.
Yeah, I do. I understand that. I think the my favorite thing, and I want to thank you for this, is the confirmation that it feels handholdy. You just offered that to me, and I really appreciate that, because there was a level of me where I'm like, do I just feel this way because I'm an asshole? Because
No, man.
I
I
play
mean,
these
like,
games all the time. So
yeah.
this one, where you literally have a guiding force through most of it, as
Mhm.
like, is it an annoyance to me, where other people would be like, oh, that's nice that it gives me this guidance. I mean, because all we're really talking about is sort of the checkpoint like diamond that other games have, that like just
Yeah.
let you know where the next objective is.
Mhm.
And those have become such a staple of gaming that I wonder if it's that. But you saying that it does feel handholdy,
No, man.
yeah,
Like, so, the big critique of that game is the owl, right? And that's even from back when it was, before the remake and all that stuff. But take that out of the equation. Like, I knew that was what I was kind of getting into when I was going into it. The one thing that I wasn't really prepared for was after every dungeon, you are immediately told where the next dungeon is. You don't have to go looking for it. It's Hey, it's behind the waterfall. Oh, okay. I gotta go work my way up to the waterfall. Hey, this one is in the prairie. Okay, down to the prairie I go. Like you were just told what to do every step of the way. You're just like this way, that way, which is a huge change from like Breath of the Wild, where you're just kind of like left to your own devices, right? But even to a point like Link to the Past, one of the reasons that I do not run it as fast as you, and probably never will, is that I purposely don't retain things from games. I like there still being a sense of discovery every time I play. And it's funny because people have pointed out to me, Tessa has said to me, like, you restart games a lot. And it's like, yeah, I like restarting games and going in a different direction, or maybe not a different direction, but like redoing something and better than I did last time. And like, I wouldn't be able to do that if I didn't like force myself to not hold on to every little detail and aspect, or else it would be boring to go back to a game 1,000 times over. And so like Link to the Past, a game that you have like memorized, I have not. Just simply have not. So like every time I dive into it, it kind of is like the first time for me all over again. And I like that. That's not a complaint. Like I enjoy that.
you don't need
So
to
that
explain that to me. I've started many games with you, and your wonderment, like, oh god, it's a little fortune teller. I'm like, oh my god, like stop. What are you doing? Why? Don't give money to that person. As a waste of your rupees.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I don't know. Is there a money sink in Link's Awakening? I don't think I've found one.
Oh, there's a couple, and you'll find them eventually.
Like
I
I played the
mean,
trendy game long enough to get the things I wanted from that, but I haven't even gotten everything from that.
yeah, exactly. You haven't gotten everything from that. That's my one critique of the Switch version of Link's Awakening, is that they added a bunch of money sinks.
Mm.
And I mean a bunch of money sinks.
I do love the dungeon builder. I did not know about the dungeon builder.
Yeah.
That was pretty rad
The
to
dungeon
find
builder
out.
is very cool. The real issue that I have with it is that the only way to share your dungeons is the amiibo. Because I was very
Mm,
proud of some of the dungeons that I built before
I'm
I realized, oh, I got to just build this dungeon because I need it to get the heart piece that is holding me back from 100%ing the game.
well, guess we're gonna have to get an amiibo and
Oh, I have an
mail an
amiibo.
back
I'm
to
not. I'm
Force.
not. Oh, we're getting a separate amiibo, and we'll mail it. I'm fine with that. That would be very fun. It is like that postcard band, the postal service.
That postcard band. Oh man.
2014, when they released like the big 10th anniversary edition of the first Postal Service album, I bought it. I bought it like physical copy because I had heard nothing but good things about it. And I gotta tell you, it was fun to listen to, but that band is always going to be a joke to me, and I feel kind of bad about that.
Oh man, yeah. The Postal Service was one of those bands that like other people were like, "This defines me," and I was like, "I like it," but My Morning Jacket was the same way. Like people were just like, "You got to understand, this is life," and it's like, okay.
Which is why My Morning Straight Jacket is the best episode of American Dad. Maybe
Yeah.
not the best, but it's definitely one of those ones that truly captures that conversation that I have had too many times with too many people.
Yeah.
I'm like, you don't understand it, man. It's my life.
Yeah.
He's singing
But
to
see,
me.
like this is fun for me. Like diving into this kind of nonsense and being able to recall this and have these kinds of conversations is good and healthy, right? The problem is like 15-year-old Sejin would run around and probably would have quoted the entirety of that American Dad episode to you after you brought it up, right? And that's taking it too far. Like
I had memorized the Trash of the Titans episode of The Simpsons in ninth grade. Like, I just memorized it because I had it on a tape and I would watch it all the time. And I would be like, I'm going to memorize this one episode of The Simpsons. And let me tell you, that episode falls the fuck apart. It is that has such a strong opening with Love Day, and I could probably still do everything up until now. It's time for us to begin the annual Love Day cleanup. I'll go start dismantling Love Land. You take care of the wrapping paper. Like, once it becomes about the garbage strike,
Mhm.
it's like, oh, this is kind of and then Steve Martin's there and you're like, oh, Steve Martin, I love Steve Martin. And then it sings The Garbage Man, which I like. Even I knew Candyman from Willy Wonka, but I never connected the two.
Oh no,
And then after Garbage Man is just like, whatever. Like that this episode, like, it's such an unbalanced episode of The Simpsons for like a 15-year-old Devon to have latched onto.
Yeah.
But I think that's what we're talking about, though, is it's fun to, like, diversify, like, for lack of a better word, your interests. Because if you diversify, you can have fun and exciting conversations about a plethora of things. If all you can talk about is, you know, for lack of a better reference, My Morning Jacket, that's going to get boring for me.
Yeah, well, it's part of the reason why the internet kind of becomes, in becoming an echo chamber, it becomes the fucking worst because suddenly everybody's just talking about Star Wars, or suddenly just everybody's just talking about Harley Quinn, or suddenly everybody's just talking about the fact that that this particular candidate behaved in this way that is being interpreted 6 different ways by 6 different news outlets, and it's just like it's the idea that we all as a people become so fascinated on one thing at a time nowadays that is just making it impossible for me to handle things. To be entirely honest.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. But it looks like you're finding fun things like Dominions, which I wanted to tell a story because I have a very vivid memory. And it's driving over the Saconaset Bridge, heading away from Fall River. So the Braga Bridge, right? Whatever, over that river. And I started talking about Minions 2 with the person I was with. Now, you just watched Minions 2, I imagine?
Well,
Have you revisited?
I watched Minions.
Oh, Despicable Me 2.
Despicable Me 2,
I'm an
yes.
asshole.
Yeah.
We start talking about Despicable Me 2.
Yep.
Which is weird. It's very much an animated sequel, is what I will say about Despicable Me 2. Where we weren't expecting to make a second one.
Right.
So let's just do something. And that being said, the fact that I can look at Despicable Me 2 as someone who, like, enjoys cinema and knows this stuff and be like, trope. That opening when Gru has to dress up as the fairy princess and the little girl goes to him, I know it's you, but I'm going to act because for the other kids. It's like, it breaks my heart. I'm crying right now.
Yeah.
Like, it's such a powerful little moment. And it's a powerful moment if you've watched the first one and got to see his relationship grow with them. And then it's such like a good payoff that almost feels undeserved when you consider that the rest of the plot of that is just funny characters and one of them is a bad guy. It's fucking Clue
Yeah,
the movie, but not
yeah.
Clue the movie. It's
Well, I
Clue the
guess
board
like
game the movie.
yeah, I mean, there's a ton to unpack in this series, and like I said, I kind of want to wait till I have the full scope, or at least the full present scope of what this world is with Minions Rise of Gru under my belt too, because there's this weird there's this weird background to those movies that I think is forever going to make them hold a warm place in my heart, like the fascination and homage that those movies pay to my style of like Warner Brothers cartoon, like the like goofy Looney Tune-esque like almost Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner style comedy that goes on in a lot of it, and like there's it's playing all the right heartstrings for me,
Oh
right?
yeah,
Like where
I'm right there with you.
mhm. So I don't know, like you just find comfort in that sort of stuff, right? But again, like I also fear becoming that like that mom on fucking like Twitter that's out there like tweeting out just minion memes and just being like, "Oh, don't talk to me till I've had my coffee," and it's just a grumpy Kevin, and it's like, okay,
Suddenly, Siegen becomes Minion Mom.
hmm
You're gonna to be on the James Corden show. Take that as solace. But yeah, no, I get you. I feel where you're coming from. Uh, but those are great, and I'm excited to dive deeper into them once we have the full 5 film scope.
hmm
What order would you watch? And I can't believe now we're gonna have the Star Wars discussion about the
Oh,
Despicable Me films, but like,
rewatched Minions instantly. Like Minions was the first thing that we put on, and then from there I was like, man, I forgot. Like I really got to get into this, and like started at one then at that point and did one and two, and I have not watched three
oh god,
because
three's so good.
I am holding on to it because I think we're gonna make it a family watching night. I think because three is so good. So
Despicable 3 Me is so good. It's so much better than it has any right to be. And
Mm.
even that, like, but you can tell that, like, it's not the tropey we didn't know what to do sequel. Like, they really dive into the world that they built in that
Yeah.
episode is what I'm going to say. It's not the word I want, but episode is what I'm going to say.
Yeah, yeah, man.
Siegen. Siegen. I was supposed to go to PAX this past week, but that didn't happen.
Yeah,
Because
man.
and that was kind of sad, but I turned it around and ended up having like 3 really great days.
Good,
And
man.
if you'll allow me, I'd like to exaggerate and extemporate on these 3 days.
Have we just before we get into that, has any news come out of PAX that we should like mention?
Not really. Let's
I was gonna
just
say,
be honest.
I was gonna say, at the end of the day, probably let's start with the fact that PAX was something to miss anyway. So anyway,
Well, PAX was something to miss to tie it all together because of COVID-19. Sony was not there, and a bunch of other people who were supposed to be there, and I felt like that was probably going to be their stage to release some serious information, just didn't show up. You know what the most important thing that I got from PAX East was, as someone who didn't go, but as someone who saw the news cycle, Nintendo's got fucking nothing in the works. Because they were
Animal Crossing,
so
man.
focused on Animal Crossing.
Animal Crossing.
But yeah, but like that's it. That's all
Yeah.
they showed. Their whole booth was an animal was freaking. Is Animal Crossing the name of the town?
So no, you can name your town. But like I think that the sleeper that you're not thinking about is E3 is going to be the deluge of Breath of the Wild 2 stuff.
I certainly hope so. I certainly agree and hope
And
so.
I say E3, but we know they're not going to go to E3.
They're not going to
They'll
go.
do
They're going to do a
they'll
Nintendo
do-
Direct.
Right, they'll say we're not at E3, but then the week of E3 they'll do a Nintendo Direct. So
Exactly. But the fact what I'm pointing to for that is more that they haven't really had a bunch of Nintendo Directs except for things that were coming out relatively soon.
right.
Like they had the Smash Brothers one to reveal that it was another Fire Emblem character joining Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and then they had this direct specifically for Animal Crossing, and they had the Pokemon Direct about the expansion stuff and Mystery Dungeon. So we don't really know what Nintendo is planning for the rest of 2020. And there was this part of me, because they sent out an email to everybody who had bought tickets to PAX East, and they're like, because you're going to PAX East and you're a Nintendo Online or whatever, you can get a Warp Pass pipe so that you can like reserve your spot at the Nintendo booth. And that made me super excited, because the first year I went to PAX after Switch had come out, all it was like Nindies, and they didn't have anything to play. It was just like a big screen and they showed trailers of Nindies. And I'm like, well, okay, that's interesting, I guess, but I want to play games. Like, that's why I go to this.
Is that where you saw the Switch port for the Messenger?
Yes. That's where I saw the Messenger. That's where that was the first time I experienced the Messenger. Was it a trailer on a big screen at the Nintendo booth at PAX East?
Okay.
And then and then it came out and I played it, and it was really not great on the Switch, as we talked about. If you want to listen to our mini review, it's been fixed. Everything has been fixed in the Messenger. I don't want to take that review down though, because it's still a good review. But then the next year, they had like a girth of games. You could play anything the Nintendo Switch version of the game. They had like, I want to say like 60 like stations set up. But they had a line that wrapped all the way around the block of the Nintendo booth.
Right.
And I don't mean it's like, oh, where's the start? Where's the end of the line? And the guy there points, and the person at the front of the line who's about to go in next, you're standing next to. And it's like, oh, okay. So, and one of the guys at the booth, I think it was cool. I don't want to give him anything, but he had a game. It was Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, which, we also have a relationship with on this show. And nobody was playing it. And he's like, yeah, no one's been touching it. Do you want to get in on it until someone comes over from the line? And he let me try it a little bit. And that was cool. But that's when I signed up to like actually get to sit down and enjoy it instead of standing that way. But like, that's the thing. They have this whole thing, but everybody wanted to play like one or two games. It wasn't just one of those, oh, I want to try this game and I want to see what the Switch port is like.
Right.
So then to focus on one game made sense, but I was hoping, oh, if I get a Warp Pass pipe, I get to go to Nintendo, maybe I'll get half an hour to try whatever I want in that half hour. But no, it was just Animal Crossing. So I was upset because all the passes flew. And that's my fault.
Man.
Because,
get you.
Yeah. And they all flew away, and I'm like, oh, but it's just Animal Crossing. I'm not upset. And then I didn't end up going anyway because Dale wasn't feeling up to it. And that's the other thing. We talk about me going to these conventions. I need to have a tether. I need to have a George Clooney to my Oscar-winning Sandra Bullock. Otherwise, the gravity of the situation will just bring me down.
There you go. I'll be your Brad Pitt, and we can fucking heist some Nintendo games if that's what you want to do.
That sounds terrible. Let's not say that.
We'll break into Tom Nook's safe. All the bells.
All the bells are ours, Tom Nook.
I'm gonna stack these bugs, and then I'm gonna steal your bells.
These are fake. That'd be good. An Animal Crossing themed heist would probably be pretty fun. I mean, also the idea of like video game heisting is fun because it's like, we got it, man. We got a copy of Nintendo World Championship. Oh man, how much is that gonna net us? $4,500. So like each of us are getting $600. 607.
Why are we not writing this movie? Edit this out, Devon. We need to write this movie.
We'll talk after Mike why we can't write this movie. But yeah, so it's just one of those things where it didn't happen. But, on the way up there, Dale was like, I'm not feeling well. We can't do this. But I stop at a Walgreens. And you know what's at that Walgreens? A figure that I've been looking for very, diligently since it was announced that it was coming at, New York Comic-Con. And are you familiar with the 3-in-1 or the Stepford Cuckoos from the X-Men series?
Oh.
Okay. So I know them because in the Astonishing X-Men run that Joss Whedon wrote, they show up, but mostly as background characters. That's sort of what Astonishing X-Men was good at, giving you like real cheesecakey pictures of like, here's a character you remember, huh? Remember this character? And they were one of them. And what the 3-in-1 is, originally the 5-in-1, are clones of Emma Frost, who are telepathically linked to one another. They're like a hive mind. So they're some of the strongest telepaths in the world. And they're also the kind of characters that even if you're an X-Men fan, you probably don't know who they are.
They do a very good surrogate of them in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, they did yes. And they also did show up, I believe, in not Legion, the one that was on Fox.
uh,
Yeah, right?
yeah, this is killing me, man. It's not Legion?
No, Legion is the one that was on FX.
About the family, right? The one that was all about the family with the kids?
Yeah, it was the one that was like...
The X-Family. Hold on. I'm going to do this.
Not New Mutants or like that. It was basically an X-Men story, and it was weird, and no one really watched it.
Which is why we can't think of it right now. The Gifted.
The Gifted, yeah. Because you know why nobody saw that? Because everybody thought it was a TV adaptation of that Chris Evans movie, Gifted. That you didn't know was a movie until I brought it up just now. Not you, Siege, I believe you did, but I mean the listener. Do you remember that Chris Evans was in a movie where his
violin or something?
Niece was gifted, and he was like down on his
out. That's right. Yeah. Miss Gray's family in that one, right? I remember getting a lot of praise for that, if I'm remembering the right movie.
It's an enjoyable little movie. It's just that like it came and went. It's not.
I thought that you were talking about the one where he plays the guitar player or the violinist or something on the streets of New York for one night. Like it's one of those like real time movies.
Yeah, no, I don't know that movie. That sounds interesting, kind of. That sounds interesting, kind of.
The better one is the Woody Harrelson one.
Yeah, I was excited to see that, but they did a really bad job showing that at the theater we went to. Like, we went to a theater to see it, and they started late, which a live thing like that doesn't really work.
Stupid.
So, like, as soon as it started late, I went out and I'm like, I'd like my money back. Because it was also like a $30 ticket.
Yeah, right? Because it's one of those, like, event things that they do. Yeah.
Not only is it an event thing, like, it's a live event. So they're able to, like, jack the price up even more. And I'm like, I'll take my money back, please. Because what the hell is that? The whole point is that it's a live event that everybody's supposed to be watching simultaneously.
I love that obscure X-Men got us down this rabbit hole.
Sorry. But yeah, so they're also featured in The Gifted. And lately, Walgreens, of all people, and it makes no fucking sense to me that Walgreens, established in Chicago in 1901, has this partnership with Hasbro and not CVS, who is literally a stone's throw away from Hasbro's world headquarters in Pawtucket.
Yeah.
Like, they partnered up to do a bunch of exclusive Hasbro toys. And their best exclusives, bar none, have been the Marvel Legends figures. They did an infamous Iron Man, which is when Dr. Doom took up the mantle because Tony was in space. They did the Fantastic Four, but like looking like the Fantastic Four, not this new series that's out that has them all in black suits for some reason.
Nice. Very nice.
So it's been very good. And, you know, they're wicked difficult to find. And that's my biggest complaint about it, is because it's a drugstore, not a toy store, it gets maybe one box in of the Legends figures
every like month.
Yeah.
Like it just gets like one.
Not even like it gets a box when they order a box.
Yeah.
So like if you have a Walgreens that's sitting on, you know, I saw one. Who was it? It was a character that like nobody knows. Oh, it was not Moonlight, not Moon Knight. I can't think of her name. She wears a disco suit and she has an afro.
Jubilee?
Not Jubilee. Dazzler is one that I have seen warming shelves at Walgreens. It's something Moon. I can't think of her name. She was featured in the Luke Cage series, I believe. But I don't remember her name. But I've seen like her like 4 or 5 deep at these Walgreens, and I'm like, so I'm never gonna find an exclusive here because you're not ordering more action figures to come to this store. But they also have the website, so I've been looking for these Stepford Cuckoos to come out because they're such an interesting character to me. That they're telepathically linked, that they're clones of Emma Frost, that they're like super powerful. Eventually, it was revealed that thousands of eggs were harvested from Emma Frost by the Sentinel program, and the hope was that they could use the 1001, as they would call it, to hunt down and kill every mutant in the world as a living computer, like basically a weaponized Cerebro.
Oof. Yeah.
Like real cool stuff. But so Walgreens did it, and I've been checking the website every day, and the day that they went up on the website, they went up with a sold out sticker. So I'm like, I'm never going to get these characters, and I'm disappointed in that. And the real disappointing thing is, it's one box, and in it is 3 heads, so that you can have each of the cuckoos. Because as they've grown and become more individual, they've like, oh, I dyed my hair black, and I dyed my hair brunette, so that we can be individuals, even though we're telepathically linked. So you get 3 figures in one box, essentially, but if you want to pose them, you got to find 3 of that set.
So, man, they're basically Huey, Dewey, and Louie themselves, which is
exactly.
great for the whole marketing side of things.
Yeah. But so we go into this random Walgreens because like she wanted to get some ibuprofen because she wasn't feeling great, and lo and behold, there's one. It's the only Marvel Legend in the store, and I'm like, well, I'm going to get you. Right, we're gonna have to purchase this. So we purchase it for the collection, the Marvel Legend, the Decker Marvel Legend collection, and I'm like, that's it. We got one, and that should be enough. Then Dale, apparently on her day off Friday, she went everywhere she could and surprised me on Leap Day with the other 2.
Nice.
So that was how my Leap Day kind of started. And that was nice. I also ate the donut chicken sandwich at KFC.
Okay, and you're here to tell the tale.
I'm here to tell. Don't eat more than one.
I imagine then you wouldn't be here to tell the
tale. It has to be fresh. I had to eat it over the counter because like you can't sit down and eat it. You got to eat it over the counter and like one bite, put it down and wait. It was swimming in glaze. Like I'm glad I did it, but oh my god. Oh my god.
Oh man.
Watch Demolition Man. That's a fun movie.
Fantastic.
I just love that. Saw Birds of Prey for my 5th time, Dale's 7th. Solidarity. Probably the last time that's going to be seen because it was in the smallest theater at the only theater around that's still showing it.
Yeah.
Which is a little disappointing. When you consider that Sonic the Hedgehog, and don't get me wrong, I love Sonic the Hedgehog, but Sonic the Hedgehog has made twice as much money as it.
I mean, we are talking about an R-rated action movie versus a PG-13 or PG?
PG. It's just PG.
PG, yeah. I mean, like, PG kids movie, man. Like,
I know, I understand, but I just want... I wish that Birds of Prey hadn't connected with me the way that it did. Like,
I wish I didn't like it.
No, it's fine when like I see Aquaman and I'm like, I enjoyed that, but it's okay that the world doesn't like it. But like I watch Birds of Prey and I'm like, there's just so much positive thing on the screen in that movie, and like they clearly put care into that film, and for it to like not get the recognition for that, it makes me sad. Like the big thing is that the budget is 84 mil, right? That's what they're saying the budget is. And it's at like 75. And it dropped from third in the country to 6th in the country this past weekend. So domestically, it's not going to make back its budget. Or if it does, I'll be very surprised. So it just, I want there to be more. I want this type of movie to be made.
Yeah, man. Like, First of all, I bet it gets. Yeah, I bet it sees its budget
I
back.
hope so.
It's
I
at the
really
84
do. Yeah.
because it's already at 78. It's gonna go for one more weekend. On top of that, they always end up finding more money. Like things get misreported, and like so that number will go up. It'll make its money back, and it'll break even there. But you say these, but that's domestically, right? Like it's fucking killing me that in the world that we live in, we do not consider international, which would more than double the amount of money this movie has made.
Right, but the money that a film makes internationally doesn't necessarily translate to profit for the studio. Like, that's
And
the
why?
problem. Like, domestic money, that kind of feeds right into the studio. There are other factors in play for the international stuff.
Yeah.
And that's the sad part when it comes right down to it. Is that we get excited about the international money and we'll love the international numbers if it says we made $1 billion.
Yeah.
But in a film like this, where it doesn't make back its domestic budget in its opening weekend, they don't give a crap about it. And that's quite disappointing. You're not wrong about that. But the big news is I bought another copy of River City Girls.
All right.
Which means that I finally got to see the updated ending.
Oh.
We played through River City Girls on PS4 the Wednesday before we were going to go to PAX because we're like, we want to have it fresh in our minds because we know that Way Forward is there and it'd be fun to like be the people that we are. Dale and I are super into River City Girls. And if you listen to the show, you know that. I certainly hope, right? Sejin knows that.
If you follow his Twitter, you posted that picture on Twitter, right?
I believe I did, yeah.
Yes.
We're big fans of River City Girls, Dale and I. And we're like, oh man, if we have the Way Forward guys like as a semi-captive audience, we can talk about the things. We can be those crazy fans that we usually have to deal with to these guys. But, we're also kind of suave and charismatic. Maybe we won't come across like crazy people.
They never think they will.
You never think you will. And let me tell you, even afterwards, your perception of that situation was like, I was awesome. But if the mirror turned, it'd be like, that fucking person is crazy. Can you please get us a restraining order for them? Please and thank you.
Can you pipe past them out of here?
Yeah. But yeah, so we bought it for PC. We played it on PC. And the PC version has been updated to version 1.1, which gives an alternate ending after you beat the secret boss. So, spoilers for River City Girls, if you happen to care. Do you happen to care, Sejin?
No, do this thing. I want to know if they fixed it or not.
So, in the secret boss... Okay, so spoilers, 3, 2, 1. Hope you're not listening.
Last time on River City Girls.
The ending of the game when you beat the final boss, Sabuko, is you find out that they were never kidnapped. They were just at the spa for the day. And you confront them about it, and they're like, oh, it's those crazy girls. Why are they following us? And then they go off to date the two girls who have kind of been semi-antagonists towards you the whole time, Hasabe and Mami. And, they look like they smell like soup. So you're disappointed. But also, Kyoko and Masako, the main characters, the River City Girls, they uppercut Kunio and Ricky and send them flying off. Like, how dare you say we're crazy? We're your girlfriends. Not a super positive message. But Dale and I have done some mental gymnastics as to how it could work and how it could make sense in the grander scheme of the Kunio-kun universe. Because we're crazy people. But then after you beat the game that way, you get a charm, and there's a way to get the other half of that charm. And if you're wearing it when you go into the final boss room, you fight Hasabe and Mami. And in the original release of the game, you kick them out the window, and the same scene plays out. And it's disappointing because, like, they have yielded to you because you beat them up. They said, fine, we'll admit it. You're their actual girlfriends. And then you go down there, and these two schmucks that you've just fought through River City to save are still like, let's go see what Hasabe and Mami are up to tonight. They're also, like, gross anime pervs in no uncertain terms.
Oh, no, that wasn't even a question. I just assumed.
But in the new ending, You beat them up, you kick them out the window, you fall into the sauna where Kunio and Ricky are, and you see them, and they're like, "Oh my god, it's you! We thought you were kidnapped." And their response is, "Why would you think we were kidnapped?" And it's like, I don't know, we got a text, and they're like, forget it. Do you want to go get some burgers at Merv's? And they go off walking into the night, arm in arm, and the River City girls fist bump because they got their boyfriends back. And it's nice. And it's just a happy ending. And you feel like you earned something for beating up the two girls, and then them saying, "We give up, we admit it, you're their girlfriends." The scene isn't 100% great, because it also kind of seems like they're just taking the opportunity to take out these two girls.
Yeah.
Like it's
no,
not like,
I mean the whole situation's a little fucked, especially because now you've seen the other side, right? Like if you had never known how bad it could be, like maybe this would seem perfectly okay.
if we weren't betrayed, if betrayed was not the con-esque like cry Dale and I gave out in unison the first time we saw this ending, it might be different.
I'm curious, like, do you know anything about the like behind the scenes on this? Like, did they clearly recognize that they made a mistake in that original ending, right? This is nothing if not an omission of that.
Right, and that's why I wanted to talk to them and ask them about that. Because clearly they understand the series. They know the Kunio-kun stuff, to the fact that when you go to fight Hasabe and Mame, and they're like, "Why do you even think that you're their girlfriends? You only dated them once in a 16-bit game that was never exported outside of Japan. That was never released outside of Japan." So, like, clearly these people took the time to learn the story and the universe by that reference. By referencing a Japanese game where Kunio, Kyoko, and Misako are actually dating these two guys.
Yeah, and like it's just interesting to me because I you and I definitely talked about it, and Dale and I definitely talked about like the issues that game has in its ending. I didn't hear too many other people talking about it, not least of which because as big as the game was for Way Forward, I think it wasn't a like groundbreaking release in any way. So like I haven't really heard anybody pushing them to do this. But they
it
clearly
wasn't a
felt
Mass Effect 3 situation.
Right.
And that's, I said that to people that I was talking to, that like, I don't want people to think that because I didn't like the ending of this game, and I wasn't quiet about that. I mean, I'm just one voice. I understand that. Dale and I are two voices. And I didn't really see anybody else who was like, "I don't like this ending." So I don't feel like it was in response to any sort of outcry from the community. It feels like maybe they just didn't have the time to do this before they released the game. I mean, especially with some of the other optimizations that the version 1.1 patch of the game added to it.
Yeah.
It's strange. Like, I don't know. And actually, there are people who, like, the new ending ruins what they were going for, which is kind of this, like, Shaggy Dog story, like, you guys thought you were the heroes, but really you're the villains. The whole thing. Like, people thought that was hilarious, where I'm like, no, that's not great, because, there's nothing in the narrative to support it.
Yeah, not least of which, like, not only is it gross, but also on top of that, it's artistically, like, not a great way of taking this either.
Right. So I'm kind of glad that they changed it, and, it's a slight reversal of betrayal, because, because it's not, the more disappointing thing about it for me was you go through all this bullshit to get a secret boss fight, and then the ending is the same.
Right.
Like, in video games, a lot of the time, if you do that, you get rewarded with something different.
Right.
So to not get that feels like, oh, what was the point? Like, I guess I get a different fight, and that's fun, but it's not like it changed anything. I don't feel like
Well,
any sense,
right.
a grander sense of accomplishment for doing that.
Right. And game design 101 is carrot and stick, right? Like where's
Yeah.
the carrot at the end of this stick? And then the fact that there wasn't one is again just poor from an artistic standpoint. Never
Yeah.
mind like yeah. Yeah.
So the fact that it now changes it and they're like, oh, apparently they're not dating Hasabe and Mame because you beat them up, so they're available to take you out for a burger at the end of this whole thing. Like, that's good. It's a different ending. You've put the work and you've done it. Heck, Guilt, right? We talked about Guilt on Stadia. It has 3 different endings, depending on how you do in the game and choices that you make. And like, that's a Stadia game that nobody's gonna play. This is a sequel to a series that like has some traction, has enough traction that almost every Nintendo system except for N64 had a release on it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just seems strange to me. I think that's everything that I have for this week. Oh, Final Fantasy VII demo was out.
Yep.
Did you play it yet?
No, I haven't touched it yet.
I played through it. Well, wait. We'll talk about that next week. Because
Okay.
I'd like
Yeah,
Season
I'll
to
have
get
to-
some time with it.
Yeah.
I'm a little undecided. I mean, I'm not buying it. The fact of the matter is I'm not buying Final Fantasy VII Remake when it comes out. And the big news, did you see the news that I sent you? Are you doing okay?
What?
You're not going to get to play as Red 13.
What?
He is only going to be a support character.
That's no. They fucked it up. They've fucked it all up. Congratulations, guys. Maybe only in this chapter?
I think it's only going to be in this episode, yeah. That's
Okay.
the hope. But, you know, there's a bit of me that's fearful that we didn't really know how to make him a playable character.
Oh God, I hope that's not it. But I can see, depending on where they stop the story for this one, it makes a small amount of sense to maybe kind of just introduce him and then make him playable later. Disappointing because he does kind of just jump right into the fight in the original game, but that's all right.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. I think the more indicative thing to me about the reveal that Red 13 Nagaki is not a playable character is that so this really is going to only go up to the escape from Midgar.
Yeah.
That's the confirmation for me.
Mm-hmm.
And that is not worth $60 to me in any way, shape, or form.
I'm waiting to see how they're planning on handling this whole thing. Like, I am probably not a day one buyer either, but I am still interested. They've got to prove themselves to me in some fashion, whether that's through like everybody playing it and saying it's the next coming of the video game Jeebus, or like if they admit that like, hey, we're going to structure things in this way and this is exactly how it's going to work. I might get into it still, but they haven't lost me yet, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why I want to talk to you after you play the demo, because there's some cool stuff in it, and then there's some other stuff that didn't work for me. And I first time was last year, Final Fantasy for me. Mm-hmm. But seeing that he's not a playable character, and the fact that as soon as I got him, he never left my team, it felt like a blow.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, so that's fun. So we'll get to talk about that more next week. Anything else to add, Siegen, before we throw it over to Will?
Just checking out a couple of like crazy new stuff that's out right now with Netflix. Just released they're doing that partnership with Nickelodeon. And they just released their latest show, Glitch Text, last week. Some fantastic, good, nerdy humor in that one, like super good. One of the main antagonist friend characters is called Mitch Williams. And in the very first episode, gets caught cheating. It's like that level of like video game humor. So like
on that level, Billy Mitchell still streams on Twitch.
Yeah, apparently, yeah, learned that this week too.
That was crazy.
Yeah. So just check out, check it out. There's a whole bunch of crazy stuff dropping because we talked so much last week about Paradise PD coming out, which is coming out this week. So by the time you're hearing this, you might even be able to watch it. But on top of that, yeah, just a whole bunch of other cool shit dropped this weekend.
Very cool. Yeah,
Kipo and the two strings. No, what is that? Kipo and
the Wonder Beasts.
In the Wonder Beast. Yeah. That's another really beautiful and the music on it is phenomenal.
Yeah. So check out Netflix if you have a Netflix subscription. I'll remind everybody that Hulu's like big deal with FX went live today. If there's an FX show that you wanted to watch, almost everything is available now. I'm probably going to do Trust for Brendan Fraser month this year, and I'm excited about that.
They put Terriers
Doom
up.
Patrol. Yeah, Terriers. Wilfred is all there. Mr. In Between, which was so hard to find the first season of. It's exciting. It's going to be exciting to go back. The Comedians. Remember when Josh Gad and Billy Crystal had a show together?
Right? Yeah.
So go out there, consume things, enjoy the things that you enjoy. But more importantly, as we go into what feels like the 15th month of the Democratic primary, remember to be excellent to each other. Remember the words of those wild stallions, Bill and Ted, that we should be excellent to each other. Kindness is kind of free. It doesn't cost that much to be kind to another human being.
And who cares if it does?
Yeah. It's just one of those situations where, like, the world is literally on fire. Like, anywhere you look, that's pretty much the headline. So if you can be kind to your fellow man, or woman, or person, or just be kind to each other, that's going to make it a lot less scary while we deal with this and let the ship right itself. Because we've dealt with this stuff before, and I believe that we can deal with it again. But by being kind to each other, it's going to be a lot less difficult to do that. So if you'd like to talk to me about what I just said, you can find me on Twitter at Devon D. Decker.
Yeah, and if you want to hit me up with any cool things that I can get lost in, please, you can find me at Siege versus the World.
So until next time, Will, take us home.
Thank you for listening to the Say Report with your host Devon Decker and Stephen Serwick. Please follow the guys on Twitter and Facebook by searching for The Say Report, and you can always subscribe on your podcast channel so this is delivered straight to you and you can enjoy it every week. With apologies to your mother, we'll see you next time.